the Gateway Experience Study. Declassified back in 2003, a government document between an independent researcher and a United States Army commander shows undeniable proof of a strange CIA experiment known as the Gateway Process Experience that was created to enhance the brain of an individual in the effort to give them mental superpowers that would help them to achieve a higher mental capacity than is capable for the average person. Throughout the document, the researcher mentioned key researchers known in the field of psychology, neuroscience, and studies in the realm of consciousness, including Israeli inventor Ishtak Bentov, of whom invented the first EKG electrodes to measure accurate brainwaves. The document then goes on to detail a process that would allow the brainwaves of the left and right hemisphere of the brain to reach matching frequencies at the theta level. This is accomplished via assistive hypnosis from trained psychologists, techniques in transcendental meditation, and utilizing the human body's natural frequency following response. In the document, the researcher details the following statement. To achieve synchronization of brain hemispheres, the hemisync technique takes advantage of a phenomenon known as the frequency following response, or FFR, which means that if a subject hears a sound produced at a frequency which emulates one of those associated with the operation of the human brain, the brain will try to mimic the same frequency pattern by adjusting its brainwave output. Therefore, if the subject is in a fully awake state but hears sound frequencies which approximate brainwave output at the theta level, the subject's brain will endeavor to alter its brainwave pattern from the normal beta to the theta level. Once this artificial form of enlightenment is achieved, however, the subjects are trained in advanced problem-solving, total memory recall, with photographic and holographic memory recall, the ability to learn new skills at an increased rate, as well as experience out-of-body astral projection that supposedly allows for remote viewing and the accurate prediction of future events. The case of Imad ElAwliya. This case, which is among the earliest of Ian Stevenson's investigations, is the one he considers the strongest. Imad ElAwliya was born to a Druze family in Korniyel village, Lebanon, on the 21st of December 1958. As the family narrated later to Stevenson, Imad's first words were Jamea and Mahmoud at about 18 months of age. He started talking of his past life, sometimes in his sleep, saying that he was in the Buhamzi family from the Kribi village. He mentioned Jamila repeatedly, saying that she was prettier than his mother and that she wore high heels and loved red clothes. He said he owned guns, a small yellow car, a truck, and a bus. He described, in particular, a fatal accident involving a truck driving over a man and breaking both of his legs, and additional injuries that led to the loss of the man's life. Imad talked of a quarrel between the man and the truck driver, and he was thought to believe that the accident was deliberate. He also talked of a bus accident and also expressed the delight in being able to walk. Imad's father warned him against making up stories about his past life, so he stopped telling him and confided in his mum and paternal grandparents. One day, as he was walking in the streets with his grandmother, Imad recognized a stranger and told him they had been neighbors. It was later confirmed that this person was a Kribi resident, convincing Imad's parents that there could be some truth in his statements. Stevenson first interviewed Imad's parents and a member of the Buhamzi family in 1964, and later in 1968, 1969, 1972, and lastly in 1973. Imad's family recorded that Imad claimed to have been Mahmoud Buhamzi from Kribi, married to Jamila, and that he died in a truck accident after a quarrel with the truck driver. Imad's family and Stevenson later visited Kribi village and found the house where Imad had claimed he had lived. They were able to confirm some of the facts as accurate, and Imad recognized his uncle Mahmoud and Jamili. He also recalled where he had kept his gun. From Stevenson's records, Imad's case was particularly convincing despite having a few complexities and mismatches in the accounts narrated. Neil Doverstone. An incident that happened far away from America is that of Neil Doverstone. This is a story that some people believe will stay a mystery, as the police couldn't find out if the passing away of Neil Doverstone was caused by himself or another person. This event took place in Saddleworth, England, A man was reported to have taken a flight from Pakistan to London on the 10th of December 2015. From there, he found his way to Saddleworth, where he went to ask for the directions to the top of the mountain from a pub landlord, Mel Robinson. According to Mel, he was seeing the man for the first time in his pub and didn't look like a traveller because he had no luggage or a suitcase with him. He said the man was dressed in a mac coat, plain trousers and loafers on his feet. Mel said he gave the man the description and left his pub thereafter. On the 12th of December 2015, a cyclist named Stuart Crowther, who was riding through the hills of Saddleworth Moor, noticed a man lounging on the bank of the hills. He called to the man, but it was apparent that something was wrong as the man wasn't responding. On moving close to the man, Stuart realised the man had passed away, and it turned out to be the same man from the pub. An alarm was raised, and the police were sent to the location. The police found £130 in his coat pocket and an empty medicine box which had thyroxine sodium written on it in both Urdu and English. The identity of the man became a mystery because no passport or driving licence was found on him. The man was nicknamed Neil Doverstone, with some reports claiming that the man had had a heart attack, while other reports claimed that he was poisoned after it was found in his system following an autopsy. The question on the minds of everyone is, did the man take the poison by himself, or was he poisoned by someone else? Coral Castle. One of the strangest mysteries surrounding ancient megalithic constructions is trying to understand the exact process as to how the ancient people of early civilizations were capable of moving massive stones on their own without modern-day advanced technologies. Although a number of theories have been passed around, there is no accepted scientific consensus surrounding any of the working theories surrounding megalithic construction of the ancient days, most notably due to the time constraints of such projects. The ancient pyramids of Giza, according to Egyptian receipts and labour accounts, was supposedly constructed in a short 20-year time span, with only roughly 20,000 people working on the project for the entire length of time. To put this number into perspective, the ancient Egyptians would have had to cut a massive stone weighing 10 times the weight of an average car, moved it to the pyramid, pushed it up a ramp and placed it into position once every 2 minutes per person without a single rest for 20 years. Interestingly enough, back in 1923, a man by the name of Edward Leedskalnin claimed to have solved the mystery of the ancient pyramid construction techniques and, in an effort to prove his theories, spent 28 years alone trying to create his own massive megalithic structure on a plot of land in the city of Homestead located in the state of California. Although Edward Leedskalnin would never reveal the mystery of how the process of megalithic constructions could be replicated with basic tools and manpower, he would go on to construct his own megalithic structure known as Coral Castle. Edward left behind a large number of pamphlets and tour guide information for Coral Castle to be later turned into a museum of some sort featuring information surrounding anti-gravity applications and theories on magnetic field lines all around the Earth that would allow him to construct the stones via electromagnetic levitation. To this day, no one is certain how Coral Castle was built, as Edward Leedskalnin would die due to a kidney infection without ever sharing his knowledge or finishing his construction. Kyron Hormann. Our last case is the sad case of Kyron Hormann, a young boy who disappeared in 2010, aged just 7 years old. After his mother started suffering from challenging health issues, Kyron went to live with his father, Kane, and his new partner, Terry. On the 4th of June 2010, Kyron's stepmother, Terry, took him to Skyline Elementary School in Portland, Oregon, where he was a student in the 2nd grade. They attended a science fair at the school before she said goodbye. Terry says she saw Kyron walking down the corridor to attend his first class at around 8:45 a.m. and then drove away from the school to run some errands. Terry returned home where she uploaded photos to Facebook of Kyron attending the science fair. However, Kyron never made it to class and his teacher marked him as absent that day. Within an hour of saying goodbye to his stepmother, the young boy had seemingly vanished without a trace. After school, Terry and Kyron's father walked to the bus stop to wait for him. They expected that, like on any other day, Kyron would have taken the school bus home. However, after talking to the driver, they were horrified to discover that Kyron had never boarded the bus home. Immediately, they called the school and the secretary reported that Kyron had not even made it to his first class that morning. What could possibly have happened to this little boy? Frustratingly for all involved, very little concrete progress has been made with the investigation into Kyron's disappearance, despite significant media interest and thorough searches of the area conducted by trained searchers and hundreds of volunteers. Despite reports from Kyron's mother that the search had been narrowed down to less than 100 acres, 10 years on, we still do not know what happened to Kyron. Kyron's mother, Desiree, has often stated her belief that Terry may be in some way responsible for Kyron's disappearance, and even tried to file a civil lawsuit against her in 2012. It must be noted that Terry Hormann has never been identified as a suspect in this case. Indeed, not one suspect or even a description of a suspect has ever been identified in the 10 years since Kyron's disappearance. Whatever the circumstances behind this bizarre and tragic case, let's hope that one day Kyron's family gain closure and somehow find the strength to move on with their lives after enduring what is surely every parent's worst nightmare. It's sad to think that families and loved ones are left in the unknown. We can only hope that future advancements in technology may solve some of these mysteries and provide much-needed closure for the families of the victims.